heroes. In today's video, we're going to be diving into part 1 of the series What If Quirkless Deku Trained for 1 million years. So be sure to stick around until the end, and let's get started. In the middle of the night, a 14-year-old kid could be seen walking in the middle of the street. He is wearing an old black hoodie, gray jeans, red shoes, and black headphones. His hair is a fusion between black and deep green. His eyes were emerald green with some shades of red. On the right side, a small burn mark could be seen. If someone were to go near him, he would hear music coming from his headphones. Specifically, they would hear in the end of the Lichen Park. As someone would say, old but gold. The name of this kid is Izuku Midoriya. Due to the meeting that he had with his favorite hero, he had become depressed and gave up on everything, even becoming a hero. His eyes were dead while looking at the ground, thinking of a place to stay this night. Izuku, maybe I could sleep under the bridge. No, too cold. Oh yeah, there was that old warehouse a bit far, but at least I can stay under a roof. While he was walking, a black old man wearing white, smoking with white hair and a gray beard, was going towards Izuku. Old man, what is a kid doing outside at this hour? Taking to Izuku. It took Izuku 5 seconds to understand that the old man was talking about him. Izuku, I am doing an errand for my mother, Izuku said without looking at the old man. Old man, Snickers, you, during my life I discovered that I am pretty good at finding lies, and you just said one, so would you like to tell me the truth? Izuku, I don't see a reason why I should talk with a stranger. Old man, if you tell me why you are outside, I am going to tell you a secret and reward you. Oh, and by the way, my name is Morgan, he said with the purest smile an old man could do. Izuku didn't know why, but he had the urge to talk to him. It was as if he didn't talk to him, he would regret it for the rest of his life. Izuku, strange name. My name is Izuku Midoriya, and the reason why I am out is that I was kicked out by my mother. Morgan, see, it was easy now regarding the reward. From inside his smoking, he took out a red button. On it there were the words time. Morgan, this button will send you in a room with full access to internet, materials, food, and various things inside here. The time is different. You can stay here how much you want, and only a second would pass outside. Izuku looked the old man in the eyes, trying to find out if he was crazy or just stupid. Izuku, well, I have nothing to lose, so, he said while raising his hand to press the button. Ding! The button made a strange sound, and suddenly Izuku felt very sleepy. Morgan, oh, and regarding the secret, I am God. After those words, everything became black for Izuku. After an unknown amount of time, Izuku woke up only to find himself in an enormous white room with a white counter in the middle of the room. The numbers were saying, 1 million years remaining. Izuku, what the fuck? Where am I? What's going on? What's this timer? Did that old man kidnap me? Thousands of thoughts were going through Izuku's mind. Suddenly, in front of Izuku, a strange floating message appeared. Congratulations, you received the chance to train in the White Room. The greatest training dimension was even a crippled human being could become a god, said a feminine voice. Izuku, what the fuck? Why should I train, and how the hell have I been brought here? Aren't you tired of being called useless, of being called weak, of being called Deku? That actually hit a sore spot in Izuku. From the moment he was 4 years old, he was called with different types of insults, but these one were always the one that hurt the most. Don't you want to be a hero? When Izuku heard those words, a tiny spark of hope formed on Izuku, but soon the crude reality hit him. Izuku, and should I become a hero? I am quirkless and weak. That isn't important. As I said in the beginning, in this white room even a crippled human can become a god, and you surely aren't crippled. With enough training you can become the strongest. Izuku, you aren't joking, right? That tiny spark of hope reformed, but this time it becoming bigger and bigger. I can't lie, I was programmed so that I can only say the truth. Izuku, I can become strong. I won't be useless anymore. Tears were forming on the sides of his eyes. More than 10 years of abuse and bullying can break someone's minds. And Izuku's mind and body was broken. Yes, but for now you need to rest. Your body is full of scars, broken muscles, and bones. You have to go inside the house and go in the healing pod. After Izuku dried his tears, began talking. Healing pod. It is a pod where your body will put in healing liquid. It will repair all the damages in your body and remove all the scars. Izuku, I am fine with the bones and muscles, but don't remove the scars. Izuku said these words because these scars were needed to remember his past and how weakness could break people. That's doable, but for now, go. Izuku, aim where? Look behind you. Behind Izuku an enormous mansion began forming. It was bigger than the White House. Izuku entered the mansion. Suddenly an arrow formed in front of his eyes, pointing towards a strange-looking container with inside a green liquid. Izuku, is that the pod? Yes it is. You have to be naked to enter it. Izuku, don't look, he said with red cheeks. What? Oh right, human logic. Okay fine, I won't look. Hearing that, a small smile formed on Izuku's face. Izuku, how long has it been since the last time I had a normal conversation? Izuku began taking his clothes off. On his body there were scars caused by explosion and fire. There were also small scars on the wrist. When all of his clothes were off, he entered the pod from behind. When Izuku opened the pod, he thought the liquid would flow outside, but in truth, the liquid inside didn't flow out. Izuku touched it, had was gelatinous. The first to enter the pod was his right leg, then the left arm, and slowly all of his body entered the pod. When Izuku was inside the pod, he began feeling sleepy, and without him noticing, he began sleeping. Now I need to form a training plan for when he wakes up. But seriously, what's wrong with humans? For God's sake, he has one of the purest soul I have ever seen in my whole existence, the feminine voice said with anger that a mother could prove towards the bully of his child. 1 week later, Izuku's eyes opened behind him. The door of the pod opened and he began going outside. Izuku, wow, I never felt this good in my entire life. Izuku began looking at his body. The scars were still here, but his body was incomparable to the one he had before. Previously he had a thin and weak body, but now his body was toned just like a swimmer. Now that's what I call a handsome body, said the voice. Izuku suddenly realized that he was naked. He tried to cover himself, but to no avail. And it seems like you are heavy-armed even down there, the feminine voice said, after being followed with a naughty laugh. In front of Izuku, clothes began forming. It was a black and white tracksuit. Where are those? We have to begin training. The clothes were a perfect size and didn't restrict his movements at all. After Izuku wore the clothes, an arrow forms pointing towards a door with the symbol of weights in front of the door. Izuku went towards the room. He was about to open it when a very loud noise began being emitted from his stomach. Izuku had red cheeks. Right, you are not on the level where you don't need to eat. Another arrow formed towards another door. In front of the door there was a fork and a knife crossed together. Izuku entered the room. A heaven smell began to caress his nose. Drool formed in his mouth. It had been a long time since the last actual meal he had. Eat until you are full. In front of us we have a very long training session. While eating, Izuku thought about a very important thing. Izuku, oh right, I still don't know your name. Well, that's new, usually no one asks it. You can call me Sarah. Izuku, well Sarah, thanks for everything, he said while doing the best smile he could. If Sarah had a body now, it would have a completely red face. Oh God, he is handsome and even cute. I am sorry for all the girls that will face him, Sarah thought. After the eating session, the true training began. We will begin with your foundation. Even though your body is toned, it just looks. In fact, even an 8-year-old girl could beat the shit out of you. So, for now, do 10 kilometers, run 100 push-up, 100 squat, 100 sit-ups. That hurt Izuku, but he knew she was right. The training continued for 2 years. Every day it would raise by 10. On every Sunday, Sarah made Izuku stop the physical training and made him study different topics such as engineering, medicine, and biology. At the end of the 2 years of training, something new was introduced. Martial arts. Okay, now you have a good body. But a good body doesn't mean that you can beat everyone, so we will begin studying martial arts. Izuku, which martial arts? Veil Tutor, Jeet Kune Do, Systema, Krav Maga, Silat, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Wing Chun, Kendo, Eskrima, Kobudo, and Ninjutsu. Izuku, I can understand some of them, but Wing Chun and Ninjutsu. Have you ever seen the movie IP Man? Izuku, IP Man. Okay, now apart from training, you will also spend some time watching films and reading books, manga, and comics because you can't be an uncultured man. Izuku, okay, I guess, Izuku said with a dumbfounded face. Izuku, uncultured man. As I was saying, in the film IP Man, the main character was a master in Wing Chun. He was insulted because they said it was a martial art for women, but he didn't care. You know why? Because he beat the shit out of all his challengers. Even against hundreds of black-belted karate practitioners, he could still beat all of them without being touched even once. Izuku, wow, that's cool. But you still didn't answer why ninjutsu. Because you won't always be able to fight people head-on, so ninjutsu will teach you how to use weapons stealthy and knock out people without being seen even in the middle of the day. Izuku, now that you say it is very useful, thanks Sarah, you are awesome. I know, she said with a pompous voice. Izuku, oh you know, then I won't tell anymore, he said while going towards the kitchen. No wait. Izuku, yes, please praise me more, she said while stuttering. Izuku, I always will, you idiot. Years flew. Izuku training became harder and harder, and so were his studies and his road to becoming a cultured man. He also began creating a new gadget to make his training harder. During one of those years, Izuku was doing a rewatch of the film Limitless. Izuku, Daman ZT is seriously opus. I know right, she said while also watching the film. Izuku was suddenly struck by an idea. Izuku, Sarah, is it possible to create an ZT? It took 5 minutes to receive an answer. Izuku, you're a genius. It is possible to create and even making it perfect. Izuku, perfect. Without side effects, without a time limit and almost on the level of the CPH-4. But it won't make you a god. Izuku began studying medicine, biology, and chemistry as if his life depended on it. It took 1,000 years to create the perfect NZT. Izuku, this is the first and only dose. Izuku put the pill on his tongue, closed his mouth, and swallowed the pill. For 5 seconds Izuku thought that it didn't work, but as soon that thought came into his mind, everything became clear. If before Izuku was a genius, now he was a super genius on the level of Moon Girl, Tony Stark, and even Hank Pym. So how does it feel? Said Sarah with anticipation in her voice. Izuku, your voice tastes like strawberries. What? Thanks, I guess. So it works. Izuku, yes it does, and now the fun begins. The remaining years apart for the usual routine were spent recreating objects from films and games, for example Tony Stark's suite, a thermal katana, a Batmobile, and things like that. Izuku was having the time of his life. Timer, 10 seconds to the end. Izuku, it seems like the time has come. Yet it seems so, she said with a sad voice. Izuku, they were the best years of my life, he said while some tears were forming on his face. I hope we will meet again. Izuku, me too. Timer, 5 seconds to the end. Timer, 4 seconds to the end. Timer, 3 seconds to the end. Timer, 2 seconds to the end. Timer, 1 second to the end. Izuku, goodbye. Goodbye. Izuku closed his eyes and waited 5 seconds before opening them again. Izuku, what? Error, error, error. Due to a critical error, the actual user of the White Room have to stay inside for 10 billion years. Izuku, Sarah. Izuku, Sarah, where are you? Izuku, no, 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 he said while running inside the house trying to find something which never actually existed. Izuku, fighting nothing, went towards the bedroom and sitting on the bed. Izuku, please not alone, he said while crying and covering himself with the blanket of the bed. In a different dimension. Scientist, damn, another day of work, nothing exciting happens. The scientist turned on the computer and waited for it to begin working. When the computer turned on, something unexpected to the scientist happened. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. Someone was able to pass the first phase of the White Room experiment and achieved 1% of the original strength. Scientist, what? The scientist began running towards a door which had the words, God, in front of it. The scientist opened the door and entered the room. The room inside the room could be described as the usual room of the CEO of a very big company. There was a man inside playing mini golf with a cup. He is a black man with a gray beard and white hair. He is wearing white smoking. He is Morgan, or better called God. Scientist, sir, someone completed the first phase. Morgan, and you surely didn't come here only because of that. Scientist, he has achieved 1% of the original strength. Morgan was dumbfounded. Original was the true creator of everything. Even him himself only reached half of his total power, unfortunately. Original disappeared, only leaving behind 10 time buttons and a message saying that Morgan and his helpers had to train 10 younglings they thought could reach original strength. That happened 10 to the power 24 years ago. Millions of younglings were chosen, but everyone never surpassed the second phase. Most of the time was because they became crazy or they sought too much power and killed themselves. It had been 100 million years since the last subject reached the second phase, and most of all he had reached 1% of original total strength, which was enough to level small cities with a normal punch. Morgan, who is the subject and how did he do that? Scientist, his name is Izuku Midoriya. And second, the recordings, he has achieved this power due to his discoveries. Morgan, that kid, what did he discover? Scientist, that he can create fictional objects. Morgan, well, that's new. Every one of the candidates discovered that during the second phase. For now, put full focus on him and keep track of his progress, and also introduce to his White Room the magical materials and magical energies. Scientist, yes sir. In the White Room. 1 year. It took Izuku 1 year to stop being sad, realizing that if Sarah would have been here she would have been disappointed by what he was doing. She would insult him and gave him a motivational speech to make happy, so he stopped being sad and continued training, studying, and continued to raise his culture. He also discovered that something strange was happening. New never-seen materials were being dropped in the basement, the place where all the materials were, and a new kind of energy began forming in the atmosphere. The only reason why he discovered it was because of his inhuman keen senses. 10 years. Izuku during these years since he felt too alone began creating AI. Some were used to train, some to help him in his studies, and the remaining to keep track of his strength and to mass produces his inventions. The rest of the time was being spent to research the new materials and new energy. 100 years. Izuku's body and mind evolved to a new level. Due to the continued use of NZT for training and studying, he discovered that his body and mind unlocked new abilities. These abilities are panmnesia, adaptive muscle memory, omnilinguals, and body supremacy. Panmnesia, the power to remember absolutely everything one thinks, feels, encounters, and experiences. Adaptive muscle memory, the power to replicate movements after observation. Omnilingualism, the power to instantly learn, speak, and understand any language fluently. Body supremacy, the power to have full control of one's own body. Every muscle, bone, nerves, and blood cells under his control. Thanks to these abilities, his studies became easier, and his need for food and sleep became almost non-existent. Regarding the magical part, he discovered that this material contained the same energy present in the air. He began using these materials to create weapons and everyday objects. 1,000 years. Izuku mastered all the existing martial arts on Earth, and since he didn't know how to use them all, he began fusing them to create the perfect martial art. He also began studying marksmanship, becoming a master of it in a month. Izuku, thanks to the new materials, were able to create a teleport. A fucking teleport. For now it was pretty big as a small house, but he knew that it can become smaller. During one of his meditation sessions, he was able to use the energy inside his body and even mold it. 10,000 years. His martial art was almost complete now. He only needed a finishing move. He had a movement skill, an evading skill, and several attacking skills, but not a finishing move. Apart from the teleport becoming as big as a car, his new creation was a ball. While not a normal ball, this ball can change shape to user will. The most important part was that even if the ball was big as a ring, it could change his form to be as big as a 20-feet greatsword. His molding of energy became easier, and Izuku labeled it as mana. He could now use it to strengthen his body and mind, heal his body by enchanging his region, and to analyze the effects of materials that he touches. 100,000 years. During one of his usual sessions of studying the human body with the use of body supremacy, he discovered that there was what seemed like a lock in his mind. When he tried to open it, everything became slower, and his body began feeling stronger and tougher. But after 1 minute his muscles began aching and his mind became tired. This way Izuku discovered the lock in the genes in the human body. The teleport was not as big as a normal watch, so he began always carrying it with him. Thanks to his new analyzing ability, he was able to discover the secret effect of several materials. He found a new material which could produce electricity. His first thought was, Izuku, I can make a railgun. Izuku began to try and use mana outside of his body. He is only able to form a string between his fingers. 1 million. His new finishing move was called Idushura. It used the effects of unlocking the gene lock. The effects of this move was to strengthen the user body and mind by 36 times. Izuku for now only used it for 1 minute because if used for a prolonged time it could cause several damages to his mind and body. Izuku made a railgun, but not a normal railgun but a magical railgun. The size of the power it had could be decided. It went from making a human head exploded to causing destruction as big as 1,000 atomic bombs. It also had a thermal gun sight. It had to form. The first one resembles a futuristic Barrett, and the second one was a ring so that he could carry it everywhere. His mana was now able to be used outside his control of it was perfect. He had also discovered that there was a different type of mana when exposed to the outside. 10 million. Izuku, having become a god in martial arts, and since now his strength could destroy a country without the use of any kind of ability, began focusing on other subjects such as music, medicine, cooking and things like that to spend his time since he had nothing apart from studying new materials and studying mana. Izuku began making all of his previous creations magical so that he could always carry them with him. For example, his Iron Man suit now had the shape of black gloves. Izuku discovered that the different types of mana were the basics elements such as fire, water, air, and things like that. Izuku began upgrading his ball, or as he labeled it X. Now apart from taking any kind of shape, it can make electricity course through it, raise his temperature to almost 5.5 million Kelvin without melting, or it could lower his temperature to reach the absolute zero without breaking. And these were only a few of the possible effects. This was possible thanks to the new type of mana he discovered. 100 million. Izuku can now be called a jack of all trades and a master of all. he discovered that apart from the basic elements there was others type of mana. Izuku made all his AI as nanobots and fused them with his body so that their use would be easier. 1 billion. Izuku was now able to mold shadow, poison, metal, wood, and magnetic fields. Izuku's creations are now only describable as godlike. If someone were to compare the most advanced computer that humans has ever created and a computer that Izuku could create in 10 seconds, Izuku's one would be 100 million millions times better. 10 billion. Izuku's discoveries in mana now made him able to control, to a limit, vectors. That plus his godlike mind and light speed calculations could only create monstrous combinations. Izuku's look now was that of a young man. His height being 5'11", his body under the clothes was godlike. It could only be described as a masterpiece of a godlike artist, it being the fusion between a swimmer and a martial artist, and all the scars only added more charm to it. His hairs, since were just cut, looked like from the first time he entered in the white room. His eyes were almost completely red with few shades of emerald green. He is now wearing fingerless black gloves, several rings, a white shirt with a gilet over it, a watch on his right hand, a necklace with an X at the end, black pants and black elegant shoes. Izuku, it seems like the time has come. It's time to show everyone that I am not weak and that I can be a hero even without a quirk. Timer 10, Timer 9, Timer 8, Timer 7, Timer 6, Timer 5, Timer 4, Timer 3, Timer 2, Timer 1. Izuku closed his eyes. For 5 seconds he closed his eyes and blocked all of his series abilities since he wanted it to be a surprise. After the 5 seconds, he reopened them. A black road, the same houses, the same park, the same smells. He is back. Izuku's legs felt weak. His knees touched the ground, tears going through his cheeks. Izuku's mind was filled with only one thought. Izuku, I am back, bitches. Izuku screamed with all the air in his lunges. Due to his strength, that scream had almost broken the sound barrier. Distant dimension. Scientist. Sir, the subject Izuku Midoriya has just finished the second phase of the exam and has reached 25% of original true power without unlocking his human genes. If he unlocks them, then he can reach 30%. Morgan stayed silent for a few seconds and suddenly began laughing hysterically. Morgan, ha ha ha. That kid is a fucking monster. He went from 0 to a planet destroyer level and most of the work was done when he was alone. Usually it's the opposite. Immediately begin phase 3. Morgan said with hope in his eyes, hope for a new original that could stop the incoming catastrophe. The RAGNAROK. Meanwhile on Earth, after his sound barrier breaking scream, Izuku began running. It didn't matter where, he just wanted to run. Behind him, several explosions were being caused but he ignored, no more, like he didn't even hear them. Izuku, oh my god, that is, and I can't forget that. Izuku began visiting all the places where he usually went before the White Room. He remembered all of them due to his superior mind, but he still missed them. Izuku suddenly stopped. He was on a beach with tons of trash ruining the view. Izuku, these girls, how did they dare to ruin such a view? Izuku snapped his fingers and all of the trash began compressing and compressing until the level where it had the form and shape of a very small marble ball. Then a black fire formed on Izuku's hand and made the ball disappear, not leaving even cinder behind. Tons of trash gone like that. Izuku went towards the beach and began dancing. For the outside he looked like a crazy man, but in the truth, he was having the time of his life. Izuku, Alfred AI play M item. Alfred, without me. Izuku, oh you know me so well. Alfred, I am in your head. After Alfred finished speaking without began playing, and so did Izuku's dance show. During the whole song Izuku just danced. In the beginning, he wasn't so good, but after a few moves, he became a master level dancer. Damn, he was better than Mitchell Jackson, and even Deadpool. When the song finished, Izuku received a notification from his AI Kevin. Kevin, I have hacked in the world government servers. They are way behind our full potential. It would take 1 year to even understand 1% of our invention, even with intelligence augmentation quirks or mechanics related quirks. I have also sealed all the money from the corrupted ones. Izuku, good. Invest all the money in the best way possible. Use the previous plane I created in the White Room. Izuku thought with serious, completely changing his aura to a more calculative one. Kevin, at the moment the most powerful companies are the one hero related. Izuku, when you have enough money, buy a new house with a basement and create a fake license to buy not civilian accessible materials. Kevin, already in the process to create a fake license. Izuku, Nostradamus, how many days till the UA entrance exam? Nostradamus, 3 days. Izuku, that's enough time. After receiving all the information he needed, he went towards his old house to take all his precious belongings and go away. Izuku was in front of his house. He knocked 1 time. Nothing. He knocked a 2nd time. Nothing. He knocked a 3rd time. Nothing. Izuku, well, that's not my fault. Izuku raised his leg and kicked the door, simply pulverizing it. He entered the only to see his mother and his lover being half naked watching him with a stupefied face. Izuku, oh hey mom, hey Bob, don't care about me, I just have to take my things. Izuku began going towards his room only to be blocked by Bob. Bob, hey you quirkless bastard, you have just broken the door, how are gonna pay for it? Izuku, why should I? This is my house, are you stupid? Izuku said while looking at Bob with disgusted eyes. Bob, what? How dare you? Bob raised his hand to punch him. Izuku didn't move. Even if that punch were to come from All Might, he wouldn't even flinch. With his sense, he watched his mother doing nothing apart from smiling. Bob, hear what you deserve. Bob's punch was a few inches away from touching his skin. Crack. Bob, Bob's hand was completely broken. I mean, what did you expect? He has punched made of a mix between Uru, adamantium, vibranium, and carbonadium. And that was just his normal body. Izuku's hand went for his balls and simply made them explode and then lunged him towards his mother. Izuku, he has 20 minutes before he dies. Izuku then ignored what was happening and went for his room. He opened the door for his room and went inside. Izuku, damn, I sure was the greatest All Might simp. He just went for his notebooks, all the clothes that weren't of All Might merchandise, and for all the pocket money that he previously. When Izuku went down, he only found a tray of blood going to the door. No one was inside. Izuku went outside and looked behind. Izuku, let's leave them a surprise. Izuku took out a small cube from his pocket and launched it towards the house. The cube began becoming bigger and bigger. Strangely enough, the sides of the cube phased the house. When it was big enough to cover the whole house, it returned to its beginning size, only that this time the house was gone. Izuku put a mini camera so that when they come back he would see their face. Izuku, ha ha ha, I am the world's greatest troll. Sarah, hi, yes you are. Izuku, oh hey Sarah, what were you doing? Sarah, I was just watching. As you told me my first day of existence, my job is to watch and report when I think that you are going overboard. Izuku, did I go overboard? Sarah, no, they deserved it. Izuku, perfect. Izuku then just went for a hotel room for 3 days. Izuku, Kana, wake me up in 3 days. Kana, okay, said a voice resembling the character from a very old but famous anime. Izuku then began sleeping for the longest time in a millennium. While on the whole, an uproar was happening. Why? Because someone began buying big shares from all the biggest heroes companies, making 27% of the whole of Japan's money on only one person's hands. The name of this buyer was unknown, but everyone knew his helper, Kevin. 3 days later. Kana, Oni-chan, you have to wake up, Kana said with the cutest voice possible. Izuku's eyes slowly opened, a smile on his face. Who wouldn't have a smile when they were called Oni-chan by such a cute voice? Izuku, damn, that was surely needed. Nostradamus, time before the entrance exam. Nostradamus, you have 3 hours before the beginning of the written test. Izuku, well, let's just teleport to the UA grounds. Izuku touched his watch and a 3D holographic map of the whole world formed in front of his eyes. Izuku went to Japan and searched for the UA grounds. When he found them, he touched it and said teleport. Izuku disappeared from his previous pace, only leaving behind a big sum of money, courtesy of Kevin. 1 second later, Izuku was in front of the UA grounds since it was pretty early before the beginning of the exam. Izuku simply sat down on a nearby bench and waited. First hour, no one could be seen coming, so Izuku began seeing if all of his gadgets were ready and in perfect state. Second hour, the first one began coming, mostly teachers that were surprised to see someone so early. Izuku told Alfred to put on some music. Most of the students came. Izuku began vibing so much with the music that he began singing. The name of the song is The Scientist of the group Coldplay. The begging was a bit rusty, but soon enough his voice became louder and louder, but also softer and softer. All of the present people began looking towards him. Oh, it's such a shame for us to part. Nobody said it was easy. No one ever said it would be so hard. I'm going back to the start. Izuku closed his mouth and opened his eyes. All of the present people looking at him. All of them began clapping while screaming. Izuku, thank you, thank you. Unfortunately, I have to take an exam. Izuku then went towards the H-shaped structure. When he was walking, a girl with pink hair and skin, yellow horns, black sclere with yellow pupils, and a very bright smile neared. Girl, hi, my name is Mina Ishido. Were you the one that was singing? She said with hope in her eyes and also looking strangely at the scar on his right cheek. Izuku, yeah, I was. That was my first time singing. The last time I did was at least a millennium ago. Izuku said while posing as if he was an old man. Only that Izuku mean it. Mina, aha, you are funny. Hey, do you wanna be friends? She said with a smile and a hand position for a handshake. Izuku, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, my first friend, said with panic in his eyes but not showing it with his body. Sarah, Izuku, you are going overboard. Izuku, phew, you are right. Izuku, yeah sure, my name is Izuku Midoriya. Mina, then let's exchange numbers. She took out her phone, which the most quantity possible of accessories containable in one phone. Izuku took his phone out. He had personally created it. It was a quantum computer in the form of a phone. He created it in 6 seconds. That he was sleepy. Mina, wow, that phone is so cool but doesn't have any accessories. Here, take this. She handed him an alien sticker. Izuku, I can die happily. Just kidding. They then went towards the written exam grounds. It was an enormous ground, at least the size of 2 football grounds. Everyone sat down and waited for the teachers. Inside the room entered a man with strange blonde hair and a blonde mustache. He is the hero Present Mike. Present Mike. Hello young ones, as some of you might know me, I am Present Mike, the loudest hero in Japan. He said Japan with his quirk almost breaking everyone's drums well apart from Izuku. Then he explained how the written exam will be and the time was of 2 hours. Present Mike, the exam will begin in 3, 2, 1, go. 7 seconds later. Izuku, I finished. It took so long because he didn't know how to answer the question what's your quirk, so he simply left it blank. Present Mike, do you want to leave? Present Mike, how can someone not being able to not even answer once? Izuku, no, I have already completed it. Present Mike, then you have to. What? Due to the stupor he had activated his quirk. Present Mike snatched the papers from Izuku's land and began reading them. Present Mike, ah ha ha ha, he answered all of them and they are all right. You can go towards the physical exam. Izuku went towards the physical grounds. Everyone looked at him as if he was a monster. Present Mike, it seems this year will be interesting. Izuku could be seen in his usual clothes, waiting in a very big auditorium playing with one of his puzzles, a 10,251,860 faced Rubik Cube, 2,561,560 for a side. While waiting in the room he sensed someone approaching him. He turns around, a girl with black hair gathered in a ponytail. Sarah, Izuku, calm down, she's a girl and even a cute one. That's the second one in a day. You are lucky, don't mess up. Izuku, I won't. I hope. She neared him since he was the only one present and the one that showed off the most in only one day. When she shows the thing in my hands, she was confused. Girl, what's that? Izuku, that's a 10,251,860 face Rubik Cube, you know, just a pastime before the beginning of the exam. Girl, where did you buy it, if I can know? Izuku, I didn't buy it, I made it. If you want I can give you one. Girl, really? She looked at me with hope. Izuku, yeah sure, I have tons of these. Izuku went for his side pocket and took out a little square. Izuku pressed a button and it became the same Rubik Cube as the one in Izuku's hand. Izuku, you have to press the button to make it back to its original form. Every time its combination will change. Girl, that's amazing, how did you make it? She looked at him as if I was a master and she was a student. Izuku, well maybe one day, when we know each other better. Izuku means without any type of second ending. Girl, well, sure, oh right, I still have to introduce myself. My name is Momoye Urazu. She said. Izuku, nice to meet you, my name is Izuku Midoriya. Izuku then went back to his Rubik Cube. Momo, don't you know me? She asked in a hesitant voice. Izuku, should I? Izuku said with a questioning gaze. Momo, nope, never mind, I hope we can be good friends. She said with a smile on her face and then sat down near him. They then continued playing with their cube waiting for the others. Sarah, very good, you didn't go overboard, and you even flirted with her. As // nice ... wait, when did I flirt? Slowly all the participants came. When Mina saw Izuku she sat down next to him and began talking about the different types of heroes, doing things during the afternoon. Most of it was just Mina talking since Izuku was more of a listener than a talker and she was totally fine with it. After everyone finished the written exam, and everyone had taken a seat, Present Mike entered the auditorium. Present Mike, now that everyone finished, I will explain how the physical exam works, he said while lowering his voice with his quirk. Present Mike, the exam will search and destroy. There are 4 targets. The first one is the 1 point. When destroyed it will give you 1 point. The second one is 2 point. It will give you 2 points. And the 3 point it will give you 3 points. In the middle of his speech a boy with blue hairs and blue eyes raised his whole body with his hand up. He is wearing an azure tracksuit. Boy, as you said there are supposed to be 4 targets but you only said 3. I would expect better from the UA. Present Mike. As I was saying, the last target is the 0-pointer. It won't give you any points and only will be a nuisance to you. Izuku, something is strange. It is too easy. A hero doesn't only need to stop villains, they also have to save civilians. There might be a secret function. What do you think, Genghis? Genghis, I think you are right. It is too easy. If someone is your friend Kaken, as you call me, would easily destroy those targets and wouldn't give a fuck about others, while others with a weaker quirk wouldn't have a chance. Izuku, that's why I created you. You a very good second head. Genghis, thanks, sir. After finishing explaining the test, Mike said that they could prepare and go towards the training grounds. The letter of the training grounds was casual. Izuku, this way friends can't help each other. Izuku's letter is Z, Mina's B, and Momo's H. 15 minutes later, Izuku could be seen in front of an enormous metal door that when opened would let everyone inside the exam grounds. Izuku changed. He is now wearing a tight black tank top that was showing all of his muscles, black pants to not block his movements, fingerless black gloves, and all of his accessories. Izuku was waiting for the test to start, watching around to see if he could recognize someone. While watching around, he saw a brown-haired girl. She is wearing a blue jacket with a blue shirt under it, and black pants. She was biting her nails trying to relax. Izuku neared her. Hey, are you okay? He asked with concern in his voice. Girl, yep, totally. I am not going to miss this opportunity and not pass and get poor and have to. If not stopped, she would have described how her life could go if she failed. Izuku, stop. If you don't relax, it will only get worse. Here, take this. Izuku immediately stopped her. Izuku, maybe I can help you. Girl, how? She asked with hope in her voice. Izuku went behind her and touched her shoulder with his hands. A feeling of relaxation went through her whole body. Izuku, I usually use this type of massage to relax muscles after training. It lasted for 1 minute, exactly at 60 seconds. From her mouth, a not exactly under 18 sound came out. Izuku immediately stopped and began watching her, trying to find out if she was angry. The girl turned towards him with red cheeks. Girl, thanks, now I am way more relaxed than before. Izuku, you are welcome. Izuku, phew, she ignored it. Freud, she didn't want to make you fell in fault, and also she liked it a lot. Izuku, well, at least I know, thanks, Freud. Freud, you are welcome. Izuku then simply waited for the start. Present Mike, start. Izuku then went full predator mode. His eyes went cold. His mouth took the form of a sadistic smile. All of his muscles tense. The moment he kicked the ground, an enormous crack appeared. The only reason why all of the UA grounds didn't collapse was that he was restraining himself. Izuku, Alfred, put a little faster and then put the fighting playlist on random. Everyone was stunned, not only because of Izuku but also because of Present Mike. Present Mike, what? In real fights there aren't any countdowns, so go. Everyone then began attacking the robots, only that Izuku had already accumulated more than 50 points. The robots were built with the same weak points as the human body, and he perfectly knows all the weak points of the human body. He just needed to touch one of the weak points with one finger to make the robot crumble. The test continued. During the test, Izuku discovered that there were people under debris, but strangely their hearts were calm, as if even if they were to be left there they still could save themselves. Izuku, they are fake civilians, so my theory about saving people was right. After that, Izuku, part destroying robot, also began helping people in need. Meanwhile, on the top of the exam grounds, heroes were watching the examiners. Sleepless Hero, that kid is a monster. 18+ hero, he destroyed more than 178 robots in few minutes, and he also saved the fake civilians. Muscle Brain Hero, what is his quirk? Cat, mouse, bear, that's the interesting part. He left it blank. Zipper Hero, so let's resume it. Intelligence over the top, speed at the limit of the human body, enough strength to punch a robot with his bare hands, and enough knowledge about martial arts or medicine to recognize the weak points of all the robots. And there might be the case that he isn't showing of everything. Sleepless Hero, I want him. Cat, mouse, bear, then you will have to teach the hero course because he will surely gain first place. Sleepless Hero, fine by me. The Muscle Brain Hero was watching the boy. Muscle Brain Hero, Mirio Shounen, it seems like you have an opponent. Wait, that kid is. The end of the exam was coming and Izuku was simply looking around trying to find other people to help. He stopped destroying robots when he reached 300 robots, not points, since he wanted to leave some of the robots to the others. While he was searching, the earth began shaking and some pieces of the fake constructions fell. An enormous robot began walking towards the entrance of the exam grounds. Most of the participants began escaping. Most because Izuku didn't move from his spot. Reason: someone is under the pieces of the constructions that fell and is in the trajectory of the robot. Izuku used 1% of his speed to reach the place. Under the debris there was the girl that he met at the beginning. Izuku, are you okay? Girl, yeah, but I can't move, my leg is stuck. Step bro, I'm stuck. Just kidding. Izuku, don't move, I will help you, said while removing some of the debris. Girl, watch out, she shouted. Izuku immediately in a split millisecond turned around. Why? The giant robot is behind him. The punch of the robot is nearing him, ready to kill him and the girl. Boom. The punch of the robot landed on Izuku's hand. Everyone had their mouth touch the ground because of the shock. Izuku, oh, you just made a grave mistake, he said while detaching the whole of the robot. Izuku, why? Because I have the power of God and anime on my side. Oh. Izuku then jumped at the level of the head of the robot and used the arm as a mace to hit the robot, making its head fly. Izuku, home run, he said while falling. When he almost reached the ground, he wanted to use his vector manipulation to stop the falling eye, but before he could, he felt someone slap his ass. It was the girl that was using her quirk to stop the fall. When Izuku landed, he looked towards the girl. Izuku, did you just slap my ass? Izuku was going towards his newly bought home, courtesy of Kevin, after saying goodbye to Mina, Momo, and Ochako, the girl who slapped his ass. After the exam finished, Ochako thanked him for 10 minutes. It took so much time that Mina and Momo were able to find him, and since they were already here, they exchanged numbers. When he was almost entering his house, he received a notification similar to when he first entered the White Room. You will be sent to the White Room in 5 seconds. Your mission is to win against 10 hordes of enemies. The enemy will depend on your current strength. There will be spectators. Izuku, shit. Izuku then disappeared. Izuku opened his eyes after being flashed by a blinding white light. He found himself in what looks like an arena. The floor was by a strange type of material that Izuku never saw. Izuku immediately used Analyze on the material. Izuku, name, Inertron, characteristic, virtually indestructible, possible usage. Severals, way to destroy it, virtually impossible. Izuku, well, that's surely a tough metal. Izuku then began watching what exactly the message meant with spectators. Izuku, what the? If Izuku would have been in a cartoon, then his eyes would have been out of his pockets due to the shock. There is a kid with the head with the shape of a football ball, a kid with scowl-shaped hairs and deadpan eyes wearing a normal middle school uniform, a man with a yellow tracksuit, red gloves and shoes, and a white cape, a man wearing a golden armor with a patch in one of his eyes, a fucking phoenix, a man with an unusually tall flat top haircut that resists all attempt at restyling it, in different colored iris, and other types of characters that were going against any type of logics, and Izuku is a man of culture, recognized all of them. Izuku, that is Mob, that is Xeno, Legion, Phoenix Force. Is that fucking death? Izuku's mind is going light speeds with thoughts about how was this possible. Phoenix Force, it seems like the kid knows us. Xeno, that there is no fun, he said while what looked like puffing his cheeks. Death, yeah, but it saves us time. One above all, yes, she is right. Ding, ding, ding. Welcome everyone to the 3rd phase of the White Room program. Today our contestant is Izuku Midoriya, who reached 25% strength AUG original. Note that at the beginning he was a mere mortal without any type of powers and any type of bloodline. Everyone, what? The enemy of our contestant today will be Surtur. The fire giant Surtur was native to the extra-dimensional plane of Muspelheim and was the mortal enemy of the Asgardian ruler Odin and his son Thor. Odin, damn, the kid will have a hard time. Spawning a normal Surtur. From the ground began forming what looked like a demon made from magma. Fight. Izuku went predator mode. Because of what the message said, this Surtur was as strong as him. Izuku's hand went for his necklace, which when in contact with his hand began changing shape. It took 1 millisecond to take the form of a katana. Izuku then activated the mode Absolute Zero. Kyuzune Akiji, that ice. It is even stronger than mine. Izuku, Osler, focus my region in the parts that will get burnt. Osler, already on it. When Surtur finished forming his body, Izuku immediately reacted using his full strength to dash towards him. Izuku, ice breathing first form, Frostbite. Behind Izuku what looked like a white wolf formed. Due to Surtur being slower and not ready for an attack, he received the attack at full force. When the sword reached Surtur's neck, the imagine of the wolf attacked, biting towards his head. Boom. Surtur's headless body fell to the ground. The reasons why lost were simples, wasn't ready, weakness towards the ice, and Izuku's strength being on par with him. First Surtur beaten, spawning a 2 times stronger Surtur. An even bigger Surtur began forming, but this time it only took a nanosecond, so this time he was ready for any type of attack. Surtur's body began forming flames, on his hand a fireball forming. Izuku turned towards the new Surtur direction, preparing for the incoming attack. Surtur launched the ball towards Izuku. Izuku, ice breathing 6th form, Arctic Wall. Izuku's eyes became dead. His position is normal. When the fireball was inches away from touching him, he moved his sword to the ground, causing an ice wall to form, completely blocking the attack. Surtur then teleported behind the ice wall, but to his surprise, there was no one behind it. Izuku, ice-breathing third form, freezing touch. Izuku's katana went towards Surtur's abdomen, and when the sword touched it, his whole body began freezing. It took 3 seconds for his whole body to freeze. Izuku then simply pushed it to make it crumb to pieces. Second Surtur beaten, spawning a 3 times stronger Surtur. Now it was Izuku's turn to be surprised. Izuku turned around only for a fist to be in front of him. Izuku, redirecting flow. Izuku coated his body in mana to make it resistant to fire, and used the strength behind the punch to launch Surtur away. Izuku, ice magic, ice trap. Izuku positioned his body towards Surtur, his hand towards him. All the mage inside the arena felt an enormous amount of mana coursing through Izuku's body. Slowly a blue aura began coating Surtur, but T didn't do anything to him. Surtur, ignoring it since it didn't do anything to him, dashed towards him. After Izuku cast his magic, he positioned his hand behind him and waited for Surtur to near him. Surtur raised his hand ready to punch him, but when it was 1 meter away from him, the blue aura solidified, blocking all of his movements. Third Surtur beaten, spawning a 4 times stronger Surtur. Fourth Surtur beaten, spawning a 5 times stronger Surtur. Fifth Surtur beaten, spawning a 6 times stronger Surtur. Sixth Surtur beaten, spawning a 7 times stronger Surtur. Seventh Surtur beaten, spawning a 8 times stronger Surtur. EIGTH Surtur beaten, spawning a 9 times stronger Surtur. Ninth Surtur beaten, spawning a 10 times stronger Surtur. Izuku's clothes were destroyed. Most of his gadgets were cooling down due to being used. All of his scars could be seen, causing some of the present to flinch. Osler was trying his best to regen the injuries, but as Surtur became stronger, so was his fire. Izuku, the last, and then I can go to sleep. Surtur's body is now as big as a skyscraper, his body coated in blue flames, a sword in his hand also coated in blue fire. Izuku dashed towards him with all of his strength remaining, but was immediately blocked by Surtur telekinesis. He then teleported towards and used his hand to punch him. Not having any chance apart from blocking, he used his vector control to lower the punch would cause. Boom. The fist caused more damage than expected, making him stunned for half a second. That second was enough to make Surtur's other punch blocking him. Izuku, I have to find a way out. I have to become stronger, but how? Wait, an idea struck Izuku's mind, and that idea could kill him or make him even stronger. Izuku began coating his skin with mana. Izuku, not enough. Izuku then coated his muscles in mana. Izuku, not enough. Izuku coated his bones in mana. Izuku, not enough. Izuku then coated his nerves in mana. Izuku, not. He coated his blood cells in mana. Izuku, enough. And finally, Izuku coated his DNA with mana. Due to the sudden introduction of mana, something unexpected happened. His DNA began changing. No, it was evolving. Surtur, feeling the monstrous amount of mana coming from Izuku, it backed away, opened his mouth, and launched a fire attack towards Izuku. Nothing happened. The body inside of the flames couldn't be seen, causing all the spectators to think he was dead. Izuku, it seems like your fire can't hurt me anymore. And everyone heard his voice. This shocked everyone. How could he resist that attack? The answer is simple. He evolved. The reason why he coated his DNA in mana was to make it evolve. Humans are in constant evolution, but it is slow. With the sudden surge of mana, his genes began changing and making him survive the sudden attack and giving him fire immunity to all the flames at current or weaker than current Surtur flame. Izuku had given himself the superpower of reactive adaptation. Izuku raised his hand, activated Idu Shura, and Izuku, absolute zero, freeze. The whole arena freezes. The only reason why the spectators didn't get touched by the eyes is that there is an invisible barrier. Beaten 10th Surtur, the contestant will now be teleported back to his previous place. Izuku, hearing these words, fainted due to mental exhaustion. First day, different dimension. Morgan, that kid is very talented. He was able to use the human potential to its fullest. Scientist, he surely is. Being able to fight 10 times stronger Surtur is no joke. Morgan, Phase 4 will be postponed until the moment he has finished his current mission. Scientist, witches. Morgan, beating all for one. I only hope that someone won't help him. Earth, Izuku woke up after an unknown amount of time in his bed inside his house. Izuku, Nostradamus time. Nostradamus, from the moment you returned it has been an hour, from the moment you disappeared it has only been a second. Izuku, phew, I at least didn't waste my time sleeping. Izuku then got up only to realize that he is butt naked, well apart from his gadgets which are almost indestructible. Izuku, here it goes another set of clothes. Alexander used the remaining nanobots to recreate the clothes. Alexander already on it. From Izuku's skin a black substance came out of all his pores. Some of the black substance began coating his body, some of it began changing color. It took 5 seconds for all of the clothes to reform his usual style. Izuku, perfect. Now the only thing remaining to do is experiment with my new power. The rest of the week was very hard for Izuku. He used his reactive adaptation to its fullest, making his body immune to all of his elements. Immune to ice to absolute 0. Immune to electricity to 100,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 amps, equivalent to a trillion bolts of lightning. Immune to pressure equal to 5 Earths. Immune to slashes that are weaker than his. Immune to blows weaker than his max strength with Idu Shura. Immune to penetration equal to a barrel. No one can take his booty virginity now. Immune to acid to the level of fluorantimonic acid. In mere words, he became immune to almost everything, making his life and his experiments way easier. At the end of the week, he received a letter. Inside of it there was a little metal disc. It was a recorder. Izuku touched the button to start the recording. From the disc, the hologram of All Might began forming. All Might, congratulations young Izuku, you passed the test with flying scores even surpassing mine. Your total score is 554 points. 334 points come from destroying robots. But there also was a hidden task, the hero first job. Saving people. You made a total of 200 hero points. You place first, your classroom is 1A. Izuku, well damn, first did he record this type of video for everyone? And second, the hero part was pretty oblivious. Sarah, congratulations Izuku, you took the first step to become a hero. Izuku, thanks Sarah. The next day Izuku could be seen in his UA uniform, walking towards the UA grounds. While walking he was using half of his mind to play chess with his AI Bobby. Izuku, Bobby, did you just get an upgrade? You have reached my level. Bobby, yeah, I asked help to Alan so that I could at least reach your level. Izuku, well this makes everything interesting. While going towards the train station, Izuku felt a tap on his shoulder. Turning around he saw Mina, Ochako, and Momo all in UA uniforms looking at him with a smile. Izuku, let's pause the game for now Bobby. Bobby, fine. Izuku, hey. Izuku said while showing his best smile, causing all the girls to have red cheeks. After saying to each other they went towards the train station. While walking Ochako asked a question that caused Izuku to stop for a second. Ochako, Izuku, I wanted to ask you one thing. What caused that scar? Sarah, Izuku, calm down, we already suspect something like this would happen. Just say the story, you have no faults in this. Izuku, a bully. Everyone, what? Nina, who? I am going to beat his ass, she said with actual rage in her voice. Ochako, I am going to beat his ass with you. She, while her quirk caused her clothes to float, is going Super Saiyan. Momo, being the one that calmed first, asked, why did they bully? Sarah, say it. If they don't want to befriend you because of such a stupid reason, then they aren't good friends. Izuku, I am quirkless. That caused all the girls to watch him with surprise and disgust. Izuku, perfect, now they hate me. He thought, sadness going through his body. Nina, who is such a piece of trash that bullies someone only because he is quirkless. Izuku, what? Momo, I don't usually use such vulgar words, but whoever did this to you is a piece of trash. Ochako, yes, she is right. Her clothes floating even more than before going Super Saiyan 2. Nina, didn't anyone do anything? I mean, you scares are pretty visible. Izuku, the bully had a strong quirk, so they said that he was just playing around and that my scars were just incidents. Mina was fuming with anger. Ochako clothes were floating even more, but not her skirt going to Super Saiyan God. And tisk damn anime logic. Momo's eyes were cold. Momo, name. Izuku, what? Momo, tell me the name of your bully. Izuku, oh, you don't have to worry, I have already taken care of it. Izuku, with the help of Kevin, had extracted the total amount of his hospital bills from Bakugo's bank account and then gave fault to Katsuki, leaving behind a false trace that led to him buying hero merchandise. His total hospital bills were a total of 1,894,675 yen. Yeah, he stayed a lot of times in the hospital. Momo, are you sure? She asked with concern in her eyes. Izuku, yep, totally. Knowing his mother, she must have beaten the shit out of him, he said with a small smirk on his face. Ochako, I hope you aren't lying otherwise, she said, forming a punch on her hand. Izuku, I swear on your beauty that I have taken care of my bully that caused everyone to have red cheeks. Freud, you sure got some skills, kid. Izuku, I learned from the best, I said while thinking about Kama Katsuragi. The men of culture knows. After that they arrived at the schools going towards their classrooms. They talked about minor matters such as their favorite heroes. They were in front of their door for their classroom. Izuku, damn that door and enormous, well they are ready for every type of quirk. When they opened the door, the sound of a hand slapping a desk could be heard. A guy with blue hair was scolding a guy with ash blonde hair because he had his feet on the desk. He recognized the guy with ash blonde hair. Izuku, Bakugo, guess he didn't change even after being accepted in the hero course. Izuku then looked towards what looked like a human-sized yellow caterpillar. He went towards it and touched it with a stick. Don't ask anime logic. Izuku, oi, is the guy in there alive? Zip. The zip of the supposed caterpillar moved down, and from it, a man with bloodshot eyes, black hair, and messy black beard, with bandages in the neck, black clothes, and black military boots came out of it. Izuku, damn, he surely needs to sleep for at least 14 hours. Osler, at this rate, he could just faint because of exhaustion. Izuku then took out of his bag a small candy. Izuku, take this, it can help with your sleep problems. After stunning the man, he simply went to his seat with all the girls sitting with him on random seats near the one he seated. When he was seated, he felt a lascivious stare coming from a midget with purple hairs. The stare went towards all the girls in the room. Izuku, if he even tries to do something I will make him feel hell, he said while using a bit of his mana to put pressure on him. That little pressure was enough to make the midget slap his head against the desk. After the man recovered from his stunned state said, my name is Aizawa Shouta, I am your homeroom teacher. We will now go to the training grounds to take an exam. Frog Girl, aren't we supposed to participate in the school presentation? Hero, Aizawa, in this school there isn't such a thing. Welcome to the hero course. After that, they went towards the training grounds. When they arrived, Aizawa-sensei gave all of them their training suits. While they were changing, a red-haired guy with defined muscles began talking with Izuku. Red-haired gut, damn those muscles and scars are so manly. My name is Eijiro Kirishima, I hope we can be good friends, he said while proposing his hand towards him for a handshake. Izuku, he gives a gay vibe. But who am I to judge? Izuku, name Izuku Midoriya, I also hope that we can be good friends, I said while shaking his hand. When almost everyone finished wearing the suit, Izuku heard something that made his blood boil. Blonde guy, Minta, what are you doing? He asked with a curious gaze. Minta, Denki, this whole relates to the girl changing room. We can see the girls change. On the other side, a girl with earphones connected to her ears was using her quirk to listen to what the guys were doing. Girl, everyone, a pervert is trying to peep on us. Everyone, what? Girl, don't worry, I am going to blind him with my quirk. When Minta had almost his eye on the hole, a hand caught his head. The hand was putting pressure on Minta's head, almost making it explode. Izuku, oh, you want to peep? Well, I'm sorry, but I am disgusted by peepers. After that, Izuku towed Minta out of the changing room. Minta landed exactly of Aizawa's feet. Izuku, Aizawa-sensei, he just tried to peep on the girls. I hope you can take of this matter. Aizawa, why there always have to be one of these? All the girls heard and saw the action of Izuku, causing all of them to look at him with admiration and respect. After the pervert accident, everyone was ready for the test. All the class could be seen wearing a blue and white tracksuit. Aizawa, now that everyone is ready. Izuku Midoriya, what was your score at the ball throw during middle school? Izuku, 10 meters, he said with a stoic face. Aizawa, that was unexpected. Well, now you have the chance to use your quirk to its fullest. Take the ball and throw it. Izuku went towards the circle, took one of the balls, and took the position of a baseball thrower. Izuku, Sarah, how strong should I launch it? Sarah, go with 25%. Izuku moved at a speed imperceptible to human eyes, and when the ball left his hands, 1 second, the ball disappears. 2 seconds, a minimal sound is heard by everyone in a radius of 20 km. 3 seconds, boom, everyone was stunned. The calculator showed the symbol of an error. Oh, and he has broken the sound barrier. Aizawa, well, I can't say that I expected that, but more or less you understood what you have to do. Mina, that sounds like fun, she said with an excited smile. Aizawa, exciting. Then whoever gets last is expelled. Everyone, what? Izuku, sensei should seriously say more believable lies, or at least control his beating when saying them. After that, exam went pretty much the same, Izuku breaking all records and common sense, and the others behind leagues behind him. When all the tests finished, something unexpected happened. Deku. Bakugo, angered by the fact that he got 4th place, dashed using his quirk towards Izuku. Izuku saw Aizawa wanting to stop him but Izuku others intentions. Before Aizawa could even flinch, Izuku was already in front of Bakugo, taking his arm and positioning so that he was choking himself. He then went behind him with the arm still in his hands. He then used his knee to make Bakugo lose balance, lastly positioning his knee in his spine so that even a little pressure could make him a cripple. Izuku, listen here you little shit. The only reason why I am not going to sue you for attacking me is that I know your mother and she was always nice to me. So you have two options: change your attitude or change your attitude. Understood. Bakugo tried to move away from his grasps, but even before he could move he found a knife near his face. It made a small cut and cut some of his hairs. Izuku, oops, one of my knives just fell. But as I was saying, have you understood? He said with a smile. Only that for Bakugo that looked everything but not a smile. Bakugo, yes. Izuku, good. Izuku then let Bakugo free and went towards the girls. Izuku, did I go overboard? Sarah, maybe the knife part was a bit too much. After everyone calmed down, Minta was sweating bullets because Minta got the last place. Aizawa, oh right, the expel part was a lie. Minta, yes. Aizawa, but you will still be expelled because you peeked the girls. Minta, no. Izuku, this surely will be an interesting school. So that concludes our first part of our series. Stay tuned for the second part of the series.